I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Radio. Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, Executive Producer of the Female Solution Radio Show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network. Call 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.
Yes, we do want to talk to you, and we've got an exciting guest for you today. We know that we're going through a difficult time as we prepare for the summer months. And unfortunately, the Memorial Day weekend is probably the most violent weekend in the nation, even though it is a testimony for those who are trying to give honor and respect to the fallen heroes of war. What it ends up being is the beginning of a long, hot summer, and we fear the violence. Well, today on Success Strategies with Zhana, Zhana's joining us live from the UK, and we'll be talking to Kwesi the Poet as he shares strategies for peace. And this is a powerful young man who has used his creative skill to inspire young people to go another way, to not enact their rage, their hurt, and their anger out with violence, but to be able to use words of peace. So we'll be right back with Zhana and her success strategies as we talk about strategies for peace. And we'll talk to Kwesi the Poet here joining us live and find out how the power of the spoken word can bring an air of peace and end the violence. We'll be right back after this quick break, and we'll be joined with our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim family. And we want you to stick and stay, don't stray away. We'll be right back after this brief message. So just stay with us. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif. Join me and my co-host Kareem Hamid every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Female Solution Radio Show, as we explore that relationship that is the foundation for our society, the relationship between men and women, husbands and wives. Join our discussion as we seek to repair broken family ties and rebuild our community. Listen online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to our host, or you can join us live on Facebook at www.facebook.com/the-female-solution.
Yes, we are back, and we are joined with our American Muslim 360 family and our co-host Kareem Hamid. And let me make sure we've got our sound. Are you there?
Yes, loud and clear.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Loud and clear.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited because, of course, we've got with us, joining us live from the UK, our wonderful host, Zhana, as we discuss success strategies. So here on the first Wednesday of the month, we've got success strategies with Zhana. And of course, she is an expert on nonviolent communication. And so today we want to take a look at how do we create nonviolent communication in preparation for steering not just young people, but some old people toward a more peaceful environment as we prepare for this long, hot summer. So, my dear sister Zhana, thank you for joining us on this first Wednesday and giving us your wisdom.
Thank you. Such a lovely welcome. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's lovely to be back.
Yes.
Greetings, everyone. This is Zhana. I'm the author of Success Strategies for Black People and Affirmations for Parents, and I host the annual blogging carnival for nonviolence. So this is perfect, having this gentleman on my show today, because I want to talk a bit about the blogging carnival, because it's starting sort of now, and it fits in perfectly. So welcome to my Success Strategy show on the Female Solution Worldwide Radio and TV Network. And It's June already. Happy June, everybody.
Yes, happy June.
Notice, and as Naima just said, the show has a new day and time. I'm now here on the first Wednesday of every month.
Yes,
We're able to find solutions and strategies for any problems or challenges you may be experiencing. We're here to help you make 2024 your best year yet. If you have a question for me or my guest, please phone 515-605-9325. Outside the U.S., you have to put 001 in front of it. So 001-515-605-9325. You can also find us on YouTube at The Female Solution and on Facebook at The Female Solution.
Yes.
My guest today is Kwesi Gharreau, better known as Kwesi The Poet. And we know on this show that poets are griot. So poets are telling us about our society, about our culture, about our history. And I'm very, very excited to speak to this young man today. So welcome to the show, Kwesi.
Yes, we're excited because we get a chance to perhaps even hear a bit of, it's kind of like asking a professional singer to, give us a few bars of a song, but his spoken word is so powerful. And we know that poetry is at the root of rap, which is the language of many of our young people. And he is one who used the power of the spoken word to touch the hearts of the youth. So let me bring to the center stage our dear brother, Kwesi the Poet. Grand Rising.
Peace. How you guys doing today? Or should I say, how you ladies doing today?
Wonderful,
And
wonderful.
in all truth, poetry is the essence of all music genres, from rock and roll, hip hop, country, R&B.
Yes, absolutely.
All the way, and it is poetry on paper. So yes, poetry is the essence of all music, all forms, except jazz. But jazz, it's just it's poetry through music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as African people from African heritage, we have a tradition of an oral culture, which is what the griot represents, the oral culture. But now in modern life, we have so many different avenues and media open to us as griots. So welcome to my show, Kwesi. Can you tell us a bit about how did you get started writing poetry?
The rudiment of my journey started not in the walls of academia, however, through a life-changing situation. My younger brother, James Lamont Ford, aka Lamont, was killed 32 years ago. January left his life to save his friend's life, and as you know, the good news teaches us there's no greater love than for a friend to lose his or her life for a friend. So Lamont wasn't at the wrong place at the wrong time. He was on our block in our neighborhood. His friend was approached by Eric Taylor with a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun, and Lamont stepped in to protect her. After the second time Eric approached her and revealed the sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun.
Right. Oh, that's really awful. That is really awful. And I blogged about something similar that happened, I think it was about a year ago. I blogged about this in the blogging carnival. This young girl was on a bus with her friend, and the friend's boyfriend came along and gave the girl some flowers, and the girl rejected him, and then he pulled out this massive great knife and killed the girl there in front of everybody on our bus.
Oh, that is
so that's one of the things that we deal with.
So,
I feel much, grieving that has to happen because these killings are happening.
So this was in the UK. When did this happen?
This gentleman was your friend?
Oh, this was your brother, right? That was murdered, Kwesi?
Yeah, this was my brother, my younger brother Lamont, who was murdered January 11th, 1992. And unfortunately, the root cause of all crime, whether it's gun violence or human violence with guns, human violence with a knife, domestic violence, thoughts of suicide, imprisonment, alcohol abuse, and substance abuse, it all comes down to the root cause of trauma. And without trauma, more than anything, identify the trauma, to process it, to heal from it, we will stay in a psychological turmoil that not just America is in, but the world is in. I mean, last year, the World Health Organization reported that nearly 800,000 people take their lives each year via suicide. The CDC in America reported last year that 53,000 Americans took their lives via suicide. And so after the pandemic, we have been really into this mental space of human beings, Americans, citizens around the world need mental health and wellness services, therapy, life coaching. And so until we address that and deal with that, we're going to continue to face, unfortunately, the loss of life through various means, whether it's in America or in the UK. People are traumatized and don't know how to express that trauma. They pass on that hurt to other people. Hurt people, heal people, heal people. So that's why I think it's important for me, being who I am.
So look at what's happening in Gaza. We're watching people be traumatized, watching children be traumatized.
Yeah, and that trauma is going to pretty much last a
In Yemen,
lifetime.
Sudan.
Yes. Yes, the thing about life or humans, as I continue to evolve in my search and my spiritual growth, is that we are all, God's children. However, when you are faced with trauma, trauma allows the evil spirit, the spirit of darkness, to come in one's life, and evil can take over one's life. And so, at time, well, it's not the person in essence that we are angry or mad at. It's the evil spirit in which that person enacted these violent acts. And so when you're talking about greed, when you're talking about the desire for people to have power and control of the other human beings, we are faced with these social ills around the world. And again, power comes from
Buddhists believe that
it being passed on inherently.
Violence inside of us, and we also have positivity and kindness inside of us. We have to make a choice. We have to make a choice. Which way are we going to go? We're going to go towards the violence, or we're going to go towards peace.
Yes, but God gave us free will, and based on our upbringing, based on the environment in which we grew up in.
World. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, yes, as human beings, yes, we have a choice, but based on the environment that we grow up in, our upbringing can determine the choices that we make in life. Birds of the feather flock together. If I'm going to hang around people who are doing evil things, 11 out of 10 times, I'm going to be doing evil things. If I'm hanging around people or my friends influence me in a positive capacity, I'm going to do positive things with my life. Like, I grew up in the church. I grew up Christian, Methodist. Nonetheless, when my brother was killed, I was challenging my faith, my spirituality, and my relationship with God for a greater understanding. Like, I even asked God, why didn't you take me opposed to my brother? Because I had just lived my senior year in college. My brother was about to be graduate from high school. And so I was like, why didn't you take me? Why would you take him? And then when I started understanding, brother was the sacrifice, unfortunately, for me to become who I am. And so Lamont's death, as much as it's been, traumatic, it's also been a blessing, because through writing poetry, I wrote, met, and forgave the two men who shot and killed Lamont to make peace with them. Now, Jonathan, the driver, he had on Lamont's Raider starter jacket, black stonewashed jeans, and black high top, white bottom Fila X100s. And so these were some brothers who were very evil in their act, because during the month of January of '92, they killed two people, with Lamont being the first person that they killed, and they attempted to kill a third person. However, he was blessed to survive the gunshot wound. And so again, I met Eric, the trigger man who shot and killed my brother. I wrote them. I am a self-published author poet. This is my debut book, Innocent Rage. I wrote them in prison after they were convicted of killing Lamont, because I was still not at peace. Though we got court justice, I was still looking for, in essence, poetic justice, and freeing myself from the emotional bondage, hate, anger, rage, bitterness, and dealing with the trauma. And so one of the very few times that I physically went to my brother's gravesite was that September of '95, asking him, what am I supposed to do with this pain, this hurt, this anger, this hate? Yes, we got justice, but I still feel this pain, hurt, anger, rage, and hate. And I didn't want to live with this emotional trauma and become a double victim of my brother's murder. And so at Lamont's gravesite, the spirit said, forgive them. So at my brother's gravesite, I said, I forgive Eric Taylor and Jonathan Jenkins for the murder of my younger brother, James Lee Ford. And then I asked my spirit, okay, what else am I to do with this? The spirit said, right. So I wrote them in prison, asking their permission to meet them.
It's amazing. I really do, Kwesi, because basically you were looking for healing. With all the pain that you were experiencing, which everybody would, and with all the rage that you were experiencing, which anybody would, you were still looking for healing. And I think that's quite amazing. That is very, very inspiring to me.
And yes, and I think when you're talking about growth and development and healing, I think we all have the capacity to do what I'm doing. I'm no different from any other human being who grew up in a church, grew up Christian, grew up whatever your religious faith is. The first principle we're all taught in our religious belief is the principle of forgiveness. However, due to the fact that at kids or young adults or older adults, we don't apply that principle to our life. Only when it's comfortable and convenient for us do we say, oh, I'm a Christian, I'm going to forgive. But when we're really faced with adversity to forgive, we tend to shun away from that principle and not apply that to our lives. Because at the end of the day, it's like healing is about you healing yourself. Like, for instance, if one has a toothache, one recognizes that and say, oh, I have to go to the doctor, to the dentist. If one has a headache or feet ailment, you say, I have to go to the doctor to get this fixed. And in a sense, when you're talking about mental anxiety or stress or pain, hurt, anger, those emotions are natural. However, how you process them can be a detriment to yourself, family, and the community at large. However, if you process it positively through your faith, you're going to have experience healing.
Baby who I love, I want to kill that person or at least hurt them. I want to attack them, and that's a natural human reaction. But that's not going to help us move forward. It's not going to help us progress.
No, it's not. And again, as you stated, it may be a natural human emotion, an emotion. However, your emotion can be challenged by yourself based on your faith to say, I am not going to perpetuate this on someone else because I don't want to continue that cycle of violence in our community. And in essence, forgiveness is about you, the human being, your personal self healing, growth, and development, that you free yourself from your emotional bondage of hate, anger, rage, and trauma. Now, when you talk about reconciliation or restoration, then it's about two people coming to.
The problem is that we're not all there yet, We're not all there yet. And sometimes I think people say that they're forgiving someone because, like, someone might be a Christian and they say, I forgive them, but they're not actually ready to forgive. Because I think we need to, when we really forgive someone wholeheartedly, we need to mean it, not just say it because we think that's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm thinking about that.
Well, no, Zhana, I'm gonna disagree with you there because based on our growth, based on us,
we forgive him, and I thought, but hang on a minute, have you processed this? Are you just saying you forgive him, or have you actually processed this? I'm not so sure about that. What do you think?
I think that personally, we all, depending on our spiritual growth and our development, when we're taught, when we grow up in our particular faith, when we go to Bible class or church on Sunday or church on Wednesday or church on Saturday, depending on your faith, you're taught this principle. And depending on how your parents and your grandparents apply this principle to your life, as a young person, you tend to exude that same particular lifestyle regarding your spiritual growth and development. And we all have the capacity. Yes, I understand every particular situation, pain, hurt, anger, you process it. It takes time. Nonetheless, are we challenging ourselves as human beings, as individuals, to live up to our spiritual selves? We are all spiritual beings going through a physical stage in our lives. And we have to identify that. And that's why it's important to have someone like myself who's dealt with such a traumatic situation to be able to come forth, to be a light in darkness, that I could be a branch or a tree that bears good fruit that people could eat from and say, oh, I says, this ain't talk. This is real. This is my brother. 2 hours after he was shot in the head, execution style, at the morgue table. This is the first poem I wrote, his face. I went to meet the man who shot and killed my brother. So it was a process. Yes. Lamont was killed January 1992.
So, I wanna hear that piece that you wrote that was inspired you. We got to take a break, and Zhana will be right back. And I want to hear some words from our co-host Kareem Hamid. I know we've got some callers on our switchboard, and we've got some callers on the other switchboard as well. And this is really a challenge when it comes to, like you were saying, forgiveness, but it's got to come from the soul. You can't just say in your mind, I forgive you, but there's anger still there. Yes. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we want to hear that piece that you were inspired to write. I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I don't even want to imagine a loved one being executed and the level of hurt and rage that I would feel. I would love to think I'm this highly evolved being where I can forgive them, but you don't know until you're tested. And once you have been through it, then you know where you really are spiritually. Are you evolved enough to really feel the forgiveness and the ability to let go of that anger and desire for vengeance? Because that's really what's happening. You mentioned Gaza and that whole turmoil. There's fear, there's anger, and there's unforgiveness. And that cycle is not going to end until something happens to break it. But anyway, we've got to take a break, and we'll be right back.
We'll talk about it after the break, yeah? And I'm definitely keen to hear this poem.
Yes. So we'll be right back after this quick break. We want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We're here with Success Strategies with Zhana, and we're talking to Kwesi the Poet as he shares strategies for peace. And we've got our co-host Kareem Hamid and our American Muslim 360 family, and we want to hear from you. And you can give us a call, 515-635-9325 or 535-605-9891. And we're also on the on-air radio network, 727-731-5192. We're ready to hear from you. We'll be right back, so just stay with us.
Talk Radio.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talent, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl. And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, And we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid, and our first Wednesday of the month, host Zhana. And we've got success strategies with Zhana.
Unmuted.
Every first Wednesday of the month. Now, of course, we don't want you all to get confused because we've got a Zhana who is first Saturday host, also from the UK. So we both have women with these beautiful British accents that we just love listening to. But on the first Wednesday of the month, we've got success strategies with Zhana. And today our wonderful guest is Kwesi the Poet. Now, he's done some amazing things with his creative energy coming out of that tragedy with his brother. And first of all, he's been a longtime advocate of peace in the streets. His spoken word album was a contender in seven categories for the 2024 Grammy Award. He was a nominee for the mayor's office, inaugural Chicago Poet Laureate 2023. He's been an activist and advocate against gun violence for 31 years. He's a content creator, producer for film, TV, digital, radio, and has been so since 1994 to the present. During pre-pandemic times, he volunteered as a parent poet at Canfield Elementary School, LA, from 2014 to 2020. And he is a self-published author. His book was published in 2023 entitled 1, 2, 3, I Love Poetry. And it's designed for children grades K through 5. He is the self-published author of an anthology of poetry, Innocent Rage, and that was in 1999. His critically acclaimed film, his film short, which is self-titled Kwesi, aired in 60 million homes on current TV in 2010, and he received at the Chicago Film Fest Best Film Short Award in 2009. So at the NYPS Film Fest Jury Awards in 2009, his film Kwesi received second runner-up for Best Film Short. And as a performing artist, Kwesi the Poet regularly uses his poetic lyrics to bring a message, talking to young people who are angry and frustrated and helping them to understand their responsibility to turn their anger into action that can make a positive difference in their lives. So we're grateful to have this brilliant artist demonstrate how the power of the arts can change our hearts. And that is what he does. And we're excited because we get a chance to hear some of his creative works. And I want to just show you his book, which, you know, the image itself, and for those who are listening, will describe it to you. But this is a book that expresses the hurt and the rage. And it is one that he has made available for people who are going through that experience of rage.
Trauma.
The trauma. And it's called Innocent Rage. And the cover is a man. It's like a black man in white face, and it's as if you see the stripes on his face, like he may be behind bars. And it's really an interesting cover that it's quite a symbol. But let's let our brother explain this image, what it means, and then we'll hear a bit of his poetry that was inspired by a tragedy. And
can you hear me, Naima?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear
I
me?
can. Yes, hear you loud and clear. Absolutely.
Yes, I'm not a black man and white face. It was a creative inspiration from dead presidents. With Lorenz Tate, when it was in the process of robbing banks, there were and so I creatively was inspired by that, because being a poet, and at the time I was on WGCI radio, I always wanted people to be moved by my message and not me, the man, because the man, I am flawed, I'm fallible, and perfect. And so, though I every day I have to carry my cross and dealing with some other, personal, I would say, demons within myself, because in dealing with Lamont's death, I turned to alcohol abuse, and thoughts of suicide. Writing poetry truly. I spent 7 years. I wrote 3 poems. I moved back to Chicago last year because I received the email from the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events that they wanted me to apply for the inaugural poet laureate position. But one of the prerequisites was I had to be a permanent resident of Chicago. So I left my Hollywood, used TV and film content to move to Chicago to pursue my literary dream, a dream I've been pursuing since 1997, when Mayor Daley was in office. And each mayor thereafter, I would pitch the mayor's office to create the poet laureate position and also to appoint myself. This year or last year, I became a nominee. I was disappointed, but I decided to mention with guns.
So
because
okay, you're breaking up just a little bit.
The pain that hurt from his murder. The prosecution attorney had to show me the photo, because my family was in it 4.5 years to September of 1995. And so, in preparing us for the photos to come out, he showed the photo. And so the photo he showed me, I asked him if I could have it. I would go back to my house and I would just sit in my room and look at the photo. And this is the first poem that I ever written. His face. His face, the right side of his head had a hole in it the size of a grape.
Oh my gosh.
His face, the ear, right side of his head, his belly, blood from his nose, blood had ran from his nose to his mouth, while blood on the mortar table sat in puddles from the head wound. His face, his eyes were still open. They had bulged out of his head, and his head became disfigured from the gunshot blast. Lamont didn't look like him. His face, Lamont didn't even look like him. Only Lamont didn't even look like him. His face, his face, his face, his face. And this is Lamont's face. Again, 2.5 hours after he was shot and killed, execution style with a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun, shot by two black men, Eric Taylor and Jonathan Jenkins. Lamont at the time was 17. Eric and Jonathan was 26 and 24 at the time. And the friend who Lamont protected, his female friend Kim, She was only 14 at the time. Nonetheless, through Lamont's intrepid act, he protected her life and sacrificing his life to save his friend. And so through his act, it empowered me to become who I am and dealing with the tragedy, identifying the trauma, identifying the pain, the hurt, the process of it. And through poetry, I self-published a critically acclaimed book, Innocent Rage. Became a renowned poet in the city of Chicago, introducing Chicago on the Rick Party show on WGCI, #1 radio show in Chicago. And then going to study abroad in a master's program at Oxford Brookes University, being the first Centralian from my HBCU to study abroad at Oxford Brookes University. So poetry has been stupendously good to me and really just allow me to look at the ugliness of who I am as a human being, that I was able to identify the beauty who I am. My book is entitled Innocent Rage because Lamont was an innocent victim of a violent crime. And rage in a positive sense means desire, enthusiasm, and passion. And so through the art of poetry, I've been able to express my innocent rage, because of course, you know, the negative meaning of rage, which is anger, bitterness, and hate. But nonetheless, through poetry, I'm able to express my innocent rage, that I may have influence on other human beings, but have impact, you know, because everybody, quote unquote, say they're an influencer. But if you consider yourself, do you have impact? Does your lifestyle, does what you do within your influence have impact that inspires, empowers, and provoke thought and other human beings? Because if it doesn't, are you truly an influencer? Now, you could always influence someone to do, you know, mediocre or moderate, you know, things, or do negative or evil things. But I believe as human beings, we need to use, you know, may sound cheesy and corny, but we all need to tap into that love, peace, kindness, joy, and forgiveness and self-control that we all have within us to exude, you know, a better quality of life for ourselves, our family, and the community at large. So writing poetry empowered me to do what I'm doing and using it as form.
The world. I just wanted to mention a couple of things, and thank you very much for sharing that. I want to mention a couple of things. First of all, I talked about this young woman who was, I believe she was 15, Eliane Anthem was her name. And she was with a friend of hers. The friend's ex-boyfriend killed the friend in front, didn't kill the friend, killed Eliane in front of everybody on this bus that he was on one morning. He had this massive knife. And first he offered his ex-girlfriend the flowers, and when she didn't want them, then he took out a knife and killed her friend, Eliane. And so I just want to mention another innocent life lost to violence. And this has got to stop. This violence has got to stop. The other thing I wanted to mention was tomorrow, as you probably know, is the 80th anniversary.
Yes, Zhana. The only way
turn the tide.
Yes.
Return the tide.
Yes.
So we celebrate those people who gave their lives and who fought so valiantly so that we could have freedom. Which is not the same thing as glorifying war, because I do not glorify war at all. But I'm tremendously grateful for those people who sacrificed their lives and who gave, everything they had, basically, so that we could be free in order to defeat the Nazis. And what some of those people went through is just unbelievable. That fighting on the beach and then fighting their way into France was just unbelievable. And my dad fought an Italian campaign, which started 6 months before D-Day. So he was fighting Nazis, he was killing Nazis, Nazis were trying to kill him. And I'm just very, very fortunate that he wasn't killed in that conflict. And I want to see a world in which we don't have that kind of armed conflict anymore. I want to see peace. I want to see peace in this world.
Yes.
You agree?
Well, that is the goal. I think that everybody has to address.
But
their
I'm
own
not say something.
Yes, go right ahead.
I mean, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist, because human beings, we will to choose life and whether it's for love or hate, and based on people's personal desires for power, greed, property, land. Unfortunately, we're going to always be in this cycle of turmoil and violence due to the fact this is just how the nature of human beings. So those of us who walk in the spirit of love, kindness, joy, peace, forgiveness, control, it's our responsibility.
Peace, we have to make a choice.
Well, let's hear from a couple of our callers. We've got a few callers on the line. And if you're listening online and want to join this conversation, you can give us a call. We're on several radio networks today. We're on the American Muslim 360 network at 515-605-9891. And of course, you can reach us on the Blog Talk channel, The Female Solution, 515-605-9325. And then we also are on the on-air radio network at 727-731-5192. And if you'd like a visual connection, we are here on the Female Solution Facebook page and YouTube channel, and the on-air TV channel on YouTube as well. And we want to engage you on this very crucial issue of peace, because peace begins with each of us. And all of us have experienced some level of trauma and are living in some level of fear or apprehension of the violence of others that may come unaware. And so that disturbs the peace, even though these are things that have not yet happened. So, well, let's first of all, before we go to our studio, let's hear from our co-host Kareem Hamid and get your comments, and then also to see if there's anybody on your studio that is wanting to add to this conversation. Is peace possible given the levels of violence and the anger that people feel and the desires for vengeance that people feel? What are your thoughts on this, Kareem?
Yes, a very important subject matter this morning. How do we quell violence? Words are very, very powerful. Words can form and shape us internally. And we are living in an oppressive word environment. There's, images are also, they shape and form the inner content. By way of forgiveness, I would like to offer a prescription for getting rid of the burden of revenge. And, one of the prescriptions I would like to offer is service work. Being willing to serve another. We are created as servants to serve one another. So, initially, I'm quite sure, yes, there is the trauma of anger and resentment. But if you hold on to that, you will become that.
Yes.
So one of the prescriptions is to see how can I serve another person? How can I serve humanity? If it's no more
higher than ourselves, something greater than ourselves.
The door, right? You know, and let me make a correction here, because I pray that we don't really believe that the nature of the human being is violent and vile.
No, it is not.
Human nature.
Human nature is not.
Thank you. No, we come here as innocent little babes. Just visit any hospital and look in the infirmary. You are looking at pure souls there. And Almighty God says that He has created us to be true human.
Yes.
But it is our parents or the society in which we live that make us other than that. So I'm grateful that
that's true.
My brother Kwame is interested
Kwesi.
in the written word, the spoken word, Kwesi, pardon me.
Yes.
That those words are powerful. Don't underestimate the positive words that you said. That and as far as hate, you know, we are taught hate the sin, but don't hate the sinner. The sinner is the victim of an environment that shapes and molds their inner content, their emotions, their things. They are victims. They are victims. Now, they must pay for what they have done. But at the same time, it shouldn't be an act of revenge. It should be an act of repair. How can I repair this person back to his or her original nature? And words are very, very powerful. Words make people. Words shape us. And so my brother is in a realm of shaping thought and our inner emotions. And I pray that he continues sharing what Almighty God has blessed him with, the ability to form and frame words that are inspiring and that can redeem fallen humanity. I'll stop right there. We have some callers on the line here.
Okay. And well, I've got a question, but I'll let you take a call, and then we'll go to some of our callers. We've got 111, and then we've got 773-221. And those who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, if you want to call in, 515-605-9325 or 515-605-9891. And if you're listening on the on-air radio network, it's 727-731-5192. We're going to get to you as well. So let's take a caller from your studio, Kareem.
Okay. It'll code 773-449. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Amir Muhammad Shaheed. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ma'am, wa alaikum assalam, Amir Shaheed.
Yes, this is a very, very interesting topic, so necessary to speak about. I would first of all like to say to my brother, you have my deepest sympathy in the passing of your brother. And hurt can come on so many different levels, emotionally, psychologically, physically, verbally. It's how do we handle these things when they're coming at us? And when you talk about forgiveness, you have to really, truly be to have forgiven that person, because if you don't, it's going to come back. It's going to keep coming back until you actually heal from it. And sometimes it takes more than the conversations that we say to ourselves. Sometimes we have to be in a coaching environment, in a therapeutic environment, because you have to start peeling. You have to start peeling and unconcealing and revealing things from a different level. And a lot of times people don't want to get these kind of services, but a lot of times they're necessary. They're necessary for us to heal. And brother, I say to you, nothing personal, but when you use the word crazy, you're actually affirming something to yourself. We're talking about transformation, confirmation in a positive way. I can hear from your speaking, you're very, God has blessed you with a very powerful voice, a very powerful message. And that's who you want to exemplify yourself to the people that you share your life with. And I just want to say that may God bless you. I'm going to try to see if I can follow you, because I do believe that you have some message to help humanity out of your pain and hurt. I've had several different painful situations in my life, and each time I try to handle myself, and then we talk about your religion, say, well, you must forgive. No, it's more than that. It goes a level deeper than that. And it's understanding what we're saying, and what we're doing, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, so it has the most effective outcome, or the most effective result. So I just want to thank you all for opening up this conversation, because a lot of times the victim becomes the victimizer.
Yes.
That's right. And,
yes, right.
Yeah. So just thank you. And I'll continue to listen and close the mic for someone else to come in. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sister. And Sister Amira, where are you calling from?
Chicago.
Oh, you're from Chicago? Oh, wonderful. All right. That great city, Chicago.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your remarks. I completely agree with what you said. Thank you so much. We have a lot of repair to do.
A lot of
repair that we have to do.
Yes. We got to take another break.
Nobody else can do that for us. We have to do it.
Yes. We got to take another break, Zhana. But when we come back, I'd like to ask all of you this question. There are many different educational programs that have been done or are proposing to be done in the prisons, where people might be serving life sentences for murder or whatever, but they can, study and get college degrees and come out. If they're not serving a life sentence, they can come out and re-enter society. I want to take a break, but I want you to think about, how do you feel about that? I know I met several students while I was in college that were part of that prison education release program. And they said that the prison guards were very resentful of them, feeling like, why should you get rewarded with a college education when I can't afford to take my children to college and they have done nothing wrong and you've killed people? How is it that you're getting rewarded with education by the state? So I'm going to take a break, and I want to come back. I want to ask you all how you feel about that. People who have maybe done some horrendous crimes being allowed to get education and perhaps even excel in life once they're released. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that prison should be more punitive, or should it be restorative? How would you feel if someone who hurt a loved one of yours was able to get a doctorate degree while they were in prison? We'll be right back after this quick break. We want you all stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in just one moment with we've got Kwesi the Poet, and he is inspiring us with the spoken word inspired after a personal tragedy. We'll be right back, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook And subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms.
We have an opportunity to transform the whole global society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our co-host Kareem Hamid, and today is Success Strategies with Zhana. Joining us live from the UK is our host Zhana, and make sure I get that Zhana right. And our guest is Kwesi the Poet, and we want to give you a look at this book cover. And again, you know, it speaks to the trauma of the experience of him having his brother murdered execution style. And this was definitely a traumatic experience, but it motivated him to write. It motivated him to create. In addition to award-winning films, his books have touched the hearts of many across the nation who are themselves feeling the rage of having a loved one killed. So we want to address that question of vengeance and punishment as the reason for our prison system, or as our co-host Kareem Hamid said, is this a place that should be a place of repair? And how do you feel about someone who's committed an act of violence, perhaps a murder, going to prison and being treated to a college education provided free by the state, and perhaps even getting a doctorate degree after they've done this horrific crime? How do you feel about that, Kwesi? Do you think people should just languish in behind bars and just suffer, or should they get the things in life?
I think as human beings, as we stated earlier, we can live for love or live for hate. And depending on the environments that we grow up in, we are influenced by those particular environments. And so if someone commits a horrendous crime, and through the penal system, which is set up in certain cases, the prison system, at the end of the day, is a private corporation. Their bottom line is to make money. And their goal is to have specifically Black and brown bodies in these institutions that they can continue to make the most money that they possibly can. So like in the state of Illinois, it's $22,000 to educate a student per year. It's $44,000 for the cost of an inmate. And when prisons became privatized, one of their key line items in the contractual agreement with each state is that the prison needs to have a 90% occupancy throughout the year. And how do you feel 90% occupancy? You got to have black and brown bodies that they can convict for these minor crimes. I mean, because if someone that's dealing crack has the same amount of grams as someone that's dealing coke, the person dealing coke don't get the same justice regarding the black person with the crack gets. So the penal system is unfair. But nonetheless, if someone commits a horrendous crime and then the system is set up, once you do your crime, you do the time, and if you do your time and don't let time do you, and you take advantage of the system, you educate yourself, you get in tune with your spirituality, and you free yourself from your mental bondage of hate, anger, rage, and trauma, then yes, once your 20-year sentence or 30-year sentence is over, you are prepared to go back in society and be a helpful citizen. Yes, I think that is appropriate. Now, some of us specifically, we get out, we don't educate ourselves, we let time do us, and we become quote unquote better criminals. And we go back out into the block and do the same thing. Or because we didn't deal with the trauma, we go out, oh, my girlfriend put me in here. I'm gonna go out 3 weeks later, I'm gonna find where she is and go kill her. And then you put yourself back in prison because there was no repair, there was no spiritual repair, there was no individual repair. And so, like for instance, if Eric and Jonathan were to get out after they served their time, I would accept and embrace that, because that's the system in which the justice system has set up in our society. I also understand that them killing my brother, their family lost 2 black men themselves. Their children, specifically Jonathan's children, lost their father. You know, so my brother may have been killed, but they lost our community still lost 2 black men to this system, which is set up for us to do what we're doing to each other.
Yes.
So
what do you want to be happening to them while they're serving time? What do you want to be happening to them while they're serving their time for killing your brother?
Well, it ain't what I want to be happening to them. It's what they want to happen to themselves if they going to do time in the way in which that they're going to educate themselves, that when they come out and be productive citizens, and that they can use their stories to enlighten and empower the next generation to prevent and mitigate other brothers going through that path. This is one of the reasons why when I met Eric, I didn't go there just one time and like, yo, I met him, I'm done. No, I met him and I went to visit him several times until they transported him downstate after they were convicted of the other 2 crimes. Now, I'm in a space now that because of quote unquote social media, I might get a little narcissistic and ego with myself so people could really see that I met Eric and go back and try to find him and see if I can go meet him and videotape it, you know, so people can see, because specifically I want young black and brown men, boys, to specifically see that, look, if I could forgive the guy who shot and killed my brother, we don't have to continue to perpetuate the violence in our community. Yes, I know it hurts. I've tasted this lemon bitter pain. And it's been 32 years, Naima and Zhana, but it still sometimes hurts. And I believe through life experiences, specifically black and brown boys see someone excelling in a particular area, they believe that they could believe it. They see it, they believe it, and they seek to achieve it. It's just like with Michael Jordan. We saw that, Jordan is able. We see Steph Curry or LeBron or Kobe or Odell Beckham or Macy, the soccer player. We believe we could be those people. So if you see someone like myself who's a poet in a literary space and a quote unquote in an intellectual space and a spiritual space doing something that's extraordinary but ordinary, we then believe that we could do it ourselves. At least when they hear me say I forgive, I am planting a seed in their mind that, dang, if he forgave, maybe I can forgive the person who stepped on my Jordans or pushed me in the hallway or, talked about me on social media. So we got a social media beat. So if other young brothers see that I've met the guy who killed my brother, they can start to see that they could perhaps do it themselves, because they know I'm coming from an organic and authentic place, and they know that I've tasted that bitter pain of gun violence. And unfortunately, in my life, it's been 50 years of me dealing with gun violence. When I was 4 years of age, when my uncle was killed on 82nd and Emerald, up until a couple years ago, my nephew at 12 years of age was robbed at gunpoint for his $20 in candy, and knew the guys who did it. I was living in Hollywood at the time. He said, "Uncle, I want to become a shooter now." At 12.
Ooh, yes.
Yes. And I had to tell him, listen, through the grace and mercy of God, they didn't kill you, so we're going to forgive them and move on. My nephew is still traumatized.
Yes. Lying in the hospital. Yes. You know, some of them have horrendous wounds. They're babies, because a lot of the women, because Gaza was being bombed, there were quite a few women who were pregnant who gave birth prematurely. Now, these little premature babies, they need to be in an incubator. If there's no electricity, then they die. Right? Yes. So their parents, their older siblings, they're being radicalized right now, right? They're being traumatized right now. And we have so much healing to do. You know, we need to stop the violence. I know I said this already, but I'm saying it again now, right? The violence has to stop. It's down to you. It's down to me. It's down to each and every one of us to stop the violence.
Well, you know, the point that you make about what children are seeing, and this is, and just like Kwesi's, was it your nephew that now his goal is to be able to go and shoot and kill someone because he was violated. And this is what we have to address so we can stop the cycle. You know, once somebody experiences an attack, they want revenge. And just like you mentioned, what's happening in Gaza, where you got these children, they're seeing the murder of their parents and their friends and their loved ones. So the seeds of violence and vengeance are planted in their hearts today. It's not enough for us to talk about ceasefire. We have to repair the damage. We have to heal the hurt. And we have to restore the souls of these people. And that's everywhere where people have been violated. They're going to want revenge. It's a powerful thing to talk about, forgiveness, but it can't happen without some serious work. And I understand what you're saying, Kwesi. You know, people have to choose.
Yeah, and people have to choose. Yes, I mean, as individuals, we all have to choose how do we want to live our lives and how do we want to be a light in darkness to others. You know, because we can't help the collective until we first and foremost help ourselves. And so I've been living this lifestyle not just a week ago or a month ago. This has been my lifestyle since I was a kid growing up in the church. You know, and I see, when I reflect on my life, I'm 54 years of age, and I see how God has been preparing me for this particular moment to use my story in a way in which to be a beacon of light in darkness, because right now, more than ever, we need peace, love, and forgiveness. And once we can do that within ourselves, then we can pass it on and be a light to others, because we do, as human beings, influence each other. You know, I influence my family, my friends, and the people around me based on how I treat them, you know, and what they see from me in my day-to-day life. So, like I said, I'm not perfect. I am still flawed. I am still carrying my cross daily. But I know the essence of who I am is a loving person, is a forgiving person, character and integrity. Yes.
We all have the potential if we make that choice. I wanted to speak to something about what the other brother said a little while ago, because we go to the hospital, we saw these tiny little innocent children, and they are innocent, but also we bear all the activities from our previous lifetimes. That's what the Buddhist tradition teaches us. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of previous lifetimes. So we're not all that innocent. We're lying in the hospital as a newborn. Yes, we're innocent, but we have this whole weight of all of our previous lifetimes that we have to heal. We need to heal that. And we're suffering beings. See, in Buddhism, there's no such thing as sinners. There's no sinners. We're all suffering beings. So it's about relieving suffering for ourselves and for each other and for everyone, the world, animals, all living beings. That's what we're attempting to do. And I just wanted to mention one more thing, which is the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence. I mentioned at the top of the program, we have quite a few poems that people have submitted over the past few years to the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence. Very powerful, very moving poetry. And I want to invite you as well, Brother Kwesi, to submit a blog post to the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence. And anybody that you know that would like to submit a poem, it can be a poem, it could be a vlog, it could be a blog, it could be an audio, it could be a book excerpt on the theme of nonviolence and peace and empathy, or any one of the above. But please, I hope that I'm going to hear from you and you're going to submit a blog post.
And tell us where to submit that. Do they go to your email or your website?
In the first instance, go to the Facebook page, which is called the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence. If you contact me there, then I will be in touch. And if you want to see some of the previous poems and previous blogs that we have published, including the poems, there are links on there to the website, which is called the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence. So I look forward to hearing from you. And all you poets out there listening right now, yeah, we want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We're talking about creating a peaceful world, and you have got a part to play. We all have a part to play.
And that's on Facebook, the Blogging Carnival for Nonviolence.
That's it, yeah. Anybody who contacts me there, I will be in touch.
Yes, we definitely want to encourage people to submit their spoken word. Can people also submit like maybe videos or something on the theme of nonviolence?
Yes, absolutely. It can be a video or vlog. It can be an audio, any format. There's no limit to the form that your blog post has to take. We want to hear from you. It could be a book excerpt, anything on the subject of empathy, nonviolence, or peace.
Yes. Well, I think that the more we put the idea out there, the more we can change the vibration that we're creating around the world. We've got some callers. I'm going to take a caller on our switchboard before we go to a break. Area code 111-111. Please give us your name, where you're calling from, and your question or comment for our guests, our hosts, our co-hosts on the topic of strategies for peace. Go right ahead.
Well, first of all, thanking God and praising Mother God and Father God. Assalamu alaikum to the listening audience. Beloved, Harry, and Latif, and Brother Kwesi. If I'm not mistaken, I'm hearing Kwesi.
Kwesi, it's Kwesi, Kweisi, Kwesi.
Yes, no Z sound.
Crazy, okay. Like crazy, okay. And Sister Zhana, good morning, and Brother Kareem. This topic, very important topic. Yes, because we're talking, brother, you started up talking about forgiveness. And I really have to commend you, brother. I want to say I'm so sorry for the loss of your brother and the trauma that you went through, because I know you still live with it. But at the same time, you were really involved, a lot more involved than I am. Because this is brother Neil. Neil MacArthur, also known as the Shy Apostle. And I grew up in Chicago, around 5525 South Lafayette. And what we're talking about when we talk about the children, and that's the reason I'm on. The reason I state my background is because I make my comments because they're aimed at the youth. But we blame the youth for the violence, and then we say yes, a lot of it is of course when we're wrong at murder or people, because we're taught period if we're wrong period. Our nature of course is to defend ourselves or to country to defend yourself, or don't let nobody take advantage of you, or don't let if somebody hit Naima, your sister, somebody touch your sister, that you supposed to go back and you supposed to fight for your sister, defend your sister. So some of that is taught and learned, but at the same time, I say that to say this. Because what you just mentioned, Naima, about that vibration, and sister just talked about nonviolence. If we want children emulate what they see, because in psychology we call this conflict resolution. When with all this violence and all this turmoil and things going on, children emulate behavior. So adults, what children see and what has been perpetuating. I was born in '65, and what has been perpetuating, especially here recently, is this division and this lack of forgiveness by our human kind, our man and women. We can't get along, and we can't forgive each other, and we in our families, in our relationships, and now, especially now in our politics. If we have a political view, some folks end up fighting and not even speaking each other no more and hating each other. And like Sister Zhana said at the beginning, they claim Christian and claim religion, claim Muslim and claim this, and all religions, like you all stated, talk about forgiveness. But people say, yeah, I forgive. And the reason this topic is so dear to me is because I'm a warrior. And it's hard for a warrior to forgive. It's really hard for a warrior. And God has been working on me with that all my life. And Jesus even had a parable about it when the disciples came, because the disciples were warriors. Because people always mistake God's kindness for weakness. And somebody has to stand up for God's kingdom. Talk about the wrath of God in the Bible, too. You know, talk about, kindness and love and letting folks just do anything. Because the evil, I done heard some devils say, oh yeah, according to religion, I can do what I want. But then right before I die, so evil. You know, when you have to deal with it, when you have to work with it, you that pacifist view about just loving folks who do wrong. I mean, I believe in love and I believe in peace. I'm a peace-loving person. God's people God is love. God loves peace, and but at the same time, forgiveness is a difficult area. So when we don't exhibit that, and when adults don't exhibit that in our human behavior, the children just perpetuate those vibrations and those feelings when they go out. It's the adults act. The adults don't get along. That's right. We're learning from what's around us, our environment.
Well, he brought up some very key points, I guess, which challenges us because and Neil, you're a veteran, right? Neil, you're a war veteran, and Air Force, nuclear. Yes. So. But the reality is that your job is to kill. Yeah, I mean that's the job that you're employed to do, to take folks out, to wreak vengeance or to stop acts of aggression, to punish people who have
keep God's people safe is the first part. Not keep God's people safe. Well, you don't violate nobody, they don't violate you.
That's what should be. Acts of war should be defensive and stopping acts of violence. That's how it should be. But what happens is, as we have seen over the centuries, decades, millennia, people use war to gain power and control over others. And they perform acts of oppression to take other people's land and resources and wealth. And so the people who get warred upon have in their hearts a spirit of vengeance, not only to take back what was taken from them, but to teach the people who performed acts of violence on them a lesson. You don't mess with me. I mean, that's how it is in the streets. I'm going to show you, you don't disrespect me. So there we have that going back and forth.
In the home as well.
In the home. I mean, this is how people feel. You disrespect me, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, and it won't happen again. So now, how do we stop that cycle of feeling that one has been violated and then getting vengeance for the violation? The whole thing with World War II with Germany was they felt that after World War I, they had been violated and disrespected, and Adolf Hitler, whose name still has the vibration of intense violence and cruelty, he was able to garner the enthusiasm of the people of Germany, playing on their feelings of having been violated and disrespected. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
How it happened is the same way Abraham Lincoln said that the Civil War was more lives were lost, fighting each other over slavery, over racism, which is another thing that I fought all my life and stood up for. And so that's why when I see Black people doing the same thing, the reverse of that, when they talk about their white brothers and sisters, we more than likely they're related to, because if you're born in America, you don't know who your granddaddy is, because your grandmama ain't had no choice. Our grandmama ain't had no choice. So when I see the reverse of that racism, and when I hear some of the comments and some of the things that my Black brothers, my melanated brothers and sisters say about their white brothers, they sound worse than the Klan. So that's something else I saw. But when you fight to address that question, when good people, Abraham Lincoln said it like this: after the Civil War, he had no threat that this country would lose from outside, from another threat. He thought a spirit of the war. Fears when good people do nothing when they see evil, and that's why Hitler was able to do what he did, because good people didn't do what they were supposed to do and didn't speak up and didn't stand up out of fear and terror. That's why they.
Well, I mean, everything you said is true, and I want to add something.
That is it. Yeah. And thank you so much, Neil, for giving us your perspective.
I love what he was saying, because he was saying what people wanted to hear.
Yes,
and
that's
true with some of today's politicians as well. I'm not going to name names, but you know who I mean. The orange one, one of those, right? Who say what people want. In Germany, there was a particular kind of anti-Semitism that had been around, bubbling underneath the surface for probably thousands of years, probably since the Crusades. And what Hitler did was he tapped into that vein of anti-Semitism and hatred. Right? He tapped into that. That's how he motivated people. People love him.
Yeah.
People love him. And you tell me what they want to hear.
When you talk about the orange man, you're exhibiting hate.
Well, the orange one.
But you know what? I'm work in progress. I'm not going to get it.
Well, we got to go to a.
About lack of forgiveness and civility.
Well,
about lack of forgiveness and civility and conflict resolution. So when the children learn from that behavior, then they exhibit that same behavior.
Well, we gotta go. We gotta take a break. We gotta take a break. But when we come back, we want to address those points.
Some of the anger.
Yes.
Some of the resentment. I mean, I carry anger and resentment all the time, every day. I'm a work in progress, right? It's all about healing. As far as I'm concerned, it's all about healing. And we have specific types of wounds to do with our experience as African Americans. The slavery experience gives us a particular kind of wounding and trauma. And we need to heal that, and nobody else can do it for us. We have to do it, and we have to recognize that when we encounter hatred inside of us, that's natural. That's natural. It's part of who we are, and we have to do something about it. We don't have to just accept it. We have to do something about it.
Martin Luther King said the only thing that will overcome hate is love.
Well,
he's absolutely right. The Buddha said that. The Buddha said you cannot overcome hate with hate.
That's true. Yeah. Well, that's true.
Love is Kwesi enemy. I can't do it. Tell us how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not ready. I'm still working towards that as a goal. I'm not going to stop working towards it just because I'm not there yet. Right? If I want to fly from London to New York, then it doesn't doesn't mean as soon as I want to drive from London, I'll be in New York, right? It takes a process.
Takes time. Well, we're going to talk about that. We got to take a break. We got to take our last break.
I'm not going to pretend to be perfect. I'm not going to pretend to be a Buddha. I'm not going to pretend to be enlightened. I'm not going to even pretend to have all the answers. I just know what I need to work on to do with myself. You get me?
Absolutely. Well, I think we're all there, but we got to take our last break. But I think you all have raised some very key points in what it takes to get to that point of forgiveness, especially if every generation keeps retelling the story of how badly they were mistreated. How do you stop it if you're injecting the spirit of vengeance in the children? We got to take a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back. So just hold that thought. We'll be right back after this quick break. And thank you so much, Brother Neil. And we'll take a look at that because, of course, one of the issues that we have as African American people is that we're constantly rehashing the wounds of slavery. We can't heal if we just keep talking about it and being angry about it. We got to take a break. We'll be right back and talk about that. Can we ever forgive and let that go and stop identifying ourselves as those people who were mistreated? How is that hurting us doing that? We'll be right back after this quick break, so stay with us. Up to the volume. Oops.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, and if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience. And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. And on this first Wednesday of the month, we have Success Strategies with Zhana. And Zhana's joining us live from the UK. And we're talking about peace. How do we?
It's very inspiring and very uplifting, this show. And,
Yes.
you know, we're always going to have problems and disagreements. It's a question of what we do about them.
Well, that is the question. What do we do about them? And we've got a wonderful guest today joining us, and our co-host Kareem Hamid and the American Muslim 360 family, Kwesi the Poet, whose brother was murdered. And he saw the body right after the killing, the gunshot to the head, the gunshot to the head, the look on his brother's face, just the whole traumatizing experience. And out of that, he put his creative energy to use and penned this book, which in many ways captures the emotions of pain and hurt when someone has lost a loved one to violence, innocent rage. And the cover, of course, is very haunting. You see a black man in white face, looking as if he's perhaps behind bars, the stripes on his lit face. It's a haunting image and definitely says a lot when it comes to how you feel when someone has taken the life of a loved one. So how do we get rid of this perpetual state of feeling like we're victims? You know, they did us wrong, they enslaved us. I mean, this, and you know, we talked about this on our Tuesday show yesterday with our host Asada, who's a Scientologist, and they have an upcoming event. L. Ron Hubbard, who's the founder of Scientology, did a program called Message to Black People. And it's all about us seizing our power as spiritual beings and letting go of that definition of oppressed ex-slaves that keeps us in this spirit of wanting vengeance, being angry, feeling helpless. And it's not healthy and it's not helpful. So
Well, actually,
we need to evolve out of that.
It's not helpful.
yeah, but actually, we're not in that spirit. We're not in the spirit of revenge against white people. You know, because if we will be going out.
Hold on one second.
I'm still carrying that rage now. But the fact is, we're not victims, we're survivors. Our ancestors were not victims, they were survivors.
And
I think we need to tell the truth about what happened, but it's a question about what do we do next? Do we stay in that victim mode, or do we remember that we are survivors and we can build, we can prosper, and we can thrive?
So yes, we did survive something horrific. But now, Kwesi, what is your thought on? Yeah, I mean, you're one whose works, you know, tells a story. What is your thought on continuing to repeat that story? Is it helpful at this point?
No. Black folks are not angry or revenge against white people, because if we were, we would be doing these horrible acts towards them. What slavery has taught us to do is to hate ourselves. And in that perpetual self-hate, which is passed on from generation to generation to generation to generation to generation, this is why we're in the state that we're in now. So what we have to do
absolutely
is identify the self-hate, being able to heal from it, heal ourselves from it, and say, yes, we are survivors. Now let's get out of survivor mode and mentality, and let's get in a spiritual place of thriving mode, because we did build this country. The country is where it is based on who we are and what we have done and what our ancestors particularly have done. But slavery has affected us mentally because it has taught us to hate ourselves. Even dealing with domestic violence, even dealing with
hold on, Johnny.
When the slave masters whipped our ancestors, we saw that trauma.
Well, hold on, Johnny. He's making a point about that.
In essence, we still have that.
Well, that's the thing. If
we still could perpetuate that violence on ourselves and to each other.
Yes.
Well, that is a conditioned response to a feeling of being oppressed. But we must stop choosing to focus on that experience, even though it was a few hundred years long. We were thousands of years not enslaved. We were thousands of years very powerful people. We were thousands of years doing international global trade. We were thousands of years building, creating, doing agriculture. We were thousands of years not going through that experience. So we're taking this little experience and defining our whole existence. Yeah, well, that's where it started.
Yeah, but Naima, the system is still set up psychologically and mentally to keep us enslaved based on the indoctrination system.
So who's responsible?
Based on the mobile device and based on television. We are still taught to hate ourselves.
Okay, now this
is psychologically until we overcome
my self-love card.
So now this is a thought.
That psychological and mental hurdle, we're going to stay in the perpetual state of violence and self-hate.
So this is the thought, and this is what this whole radio, TV network and series is based on.
Please?
Might be me. Hopefully it's not me. Every day we're reminding people of the power that they have to choose what they put their eyes and ears on. Nobody's making us watch programming that denigrates us. We're choosing to do that. We could just as easily choose to do something else. So this is why we're presenting an alternative to that negative brainwashing. You can watch our shows and so many other shows that are uplifting and progressive. Now, if people keep choosing to watch the stories of violence, the stories of oppression, and they keep choosing to stay in a state of anger and feelings of helplessness, that's a choice they're making. They had the same power to choose something else.
People are so brainwashed that a lot of people don't even realize there's a choice. Right? We're brainwashed to actually like certain things and dislike other things. Right? Yeah. We are conditioned to like certain things and enjoy certain kinds of programming. And some of us have not seen through that conditioning yet. Can I go back and respond to the question you asked earlier, Naima, about what can we do?
Yes. Go right ahead, Zhana.
Because what we can do, and this is to do with self-hatred and self-love, in we see nonviolent communication, the first step is connecting with our own feelings and needs, right? That's how we define empathy in nonviolent communication, is connecting with feelings and needs. You cannot connect with somebody else's feelings and needs unless you're connected with your own. And if you're having trouble forgiving someone, if you're having trouble letting go of the anger and resentment, it just means you need more empathy. So it starts with the self. When you have received enough empathy, then you can reach out with your heart to connect with another person. But until you receive enough empathy, then you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to connect with another person from the heart. So it starts with the self. It starts with self-empathy.
Well, I've got a question, and then we're going to take a caller. You've got 773-221. should our healing of our feelings of hurt depend on other people showing us empathy? Because I think we're in a sense we get stuck there as well. You know, okay, we've been oppressed, we've been treated with unkindness. They need to change. They need to treat us right.
Right? Forever. That's giving my power away.
Yes. Yes.
It's giving away my power.
Right. I mean, Kwesi didn't wait for the other guys to say they were sorry that they did the murder.
Whether or not I'm receiving empathy from the other person, I can still receive empathy from myself.
Right. Right. We have to be the ones that give ourselves what we need. If we're expecting other people to change their behavior before we can feel good,
because the other person is not going to do it.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So Kwesi, if you had to wait for the gentleman to express some kind
I'll
of
go deeper than that. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Go ahead. Yeah, Kwesi, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, did you freeze? I think he froze for a second. Okay, go ahead. Yes. You're on. Yeah. Yeah, we hear you now. Yes. Oh, I think he keeps freezing.
No.
Oh.
I was going to say I could go deeper than that. Even when Eric called.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I think we've got some choppy internet issues
you
here.
You hear me?
Say that again. Say that again. You froze for a second. Say that again, Kwesi.
Okay, seeking empathy from others could be a detriment to oneself as well, because if you continue to seek others' approval, because I know when I wrote Eric and then I had him call my home collecting, at the time I was staying with my mother.
Wow.
And my mother happened to answer the phone when he called collect, and my mom was like, "How are you going to have this man call my house brother want to meet him?" Even though my mom put us in a position to go to church every Sunday, Bible class on Wednesday, Sunday school. How could get guy up? And I said, "Mom, you taught us to be this way." Matter of fact, Lamont losing his life for his friend is something you taught us to sacrifice our own to help our others. Right. You know, and I just told my mom, I can't stay in this of hate, anger, resentment, bitterness, because I wanted to heal myself, you know. And so my healing was my mother and saying, giving me approval. I want to heal for myself. And my book is a homage to Miss Mamie Till, who wanted the world to see what those white men did to her son for allegedly whistling at a white woman, which we know now was forced, to what Eric and Jonathan did, and my brother losing his life to protect a female friend. And so what they did to her son, and I wanted the world to see what those two brothers did to my brother, literally no cause. He wasn't causing them violence, hurt, or harm, or taking something from them that they need to up to no good. And so she forgiven those white men for killing her.
Yes, and I think. Well, I think
I'm
also
trying to walk my mom into this space at her time and space, but I also understand hold on to illnesses and things that you can't a diagnosis from a doctor doesn't give you the diagnosis, but think of mine. Once you forgive these men for killing your son, just like the woman who believed if she touched the cloth of Jesus, she would be healed. So she has to have that type of faith that, look, if you want to heal yourself from these ailments that you have, bad knees, hip, headaches, when you go to the doctor, they can't diagnose it. Like, you got to step into your space of, you know, freedom to free yourself from the hate and anger that you have for these two gentlemen. And so, listen, I am just a humble servant seeking to serve God by serving the people by serving God, you know, and I just want my brother's life and his death to mean something, not just to myself, but to my mom, so she could eventually heal her heart after the trauma. And my mom is a God-fearing woman. Sometimes she goes to 3 churches a week, you know, to go serve and praise God. But she still says she hasn't stepped into the space of forgiveness as of yet. And forgiveness solely is about you healing your heart and not dealing with the pain and hurt. And that's what I'm trying to get my mom to act. Even if you
it's not an
want to
easy
be selfish, be selfish for yourself, that you heal yourself and say, look, I'm gonna forgive these guys towards them or anything. They don't care. They're going to lives.
Well, you know, I think people don't understand that
it's not an easy thing to do, but it's harder to hurt. It's harder. 32, you holding on to the pain and hurt and the hang. You take that baggage from one relationship.
Yes. And I think people misunderstand forgiveness as meaning you're dismissing what they did is okay. And that doesn't mean that.
That's right.
It means
Go ahead,
you're
say that again.
of the anger inside of you. And a lot of times you can have empathy, even though what was done was wrong. You can discover maybe this was, you know, someone who came from an abused family that beat them or violated them or neglected them. And so you understand that what didn't develop in them was empathy for others. And that's why they did what they did. It doesn't excuse it and make it right, but it helps you understand that this is how people are formed. When they're mistreated. It helps us understand. And so when we release the anger in us, it's because we understand. And this is why punitiveness doesn't help, because it's not, okay, you hurt somebody because they hurt somebody. But if it didn't help them evolve to a place of empathy, which is what they lacked in the first place, the reason why they hurt somebody, and it doesn't help you evolve to a place of empathy where you don't feel a need for vengeance, then it's not helpful, because it's just keeping a cycle of violence going, or anger going, or frustration and rage going.
It doesn't help us to heal. It doesn't help us to get rid of the pain. It just means that we're inflicting more pain on ourselves and others.
That is the challenge that we have, is to let go of the need for other people to express regret for how they treated us before we can feel okay about ourselves. We've got a caller here. We've got.
They may never express regret.
They may never.
So we're going to keep carrying this.
And what happens if they don't?
I don't think so. It's
right.
not healthy. It's time to put it down.
Right.
It's time to put it down. And I just wanted to respond quickly about the question you asked. How would I feel about somebody who's been in prison, being given education? First of all, not everybody who's made a mistake is in prison. There's plenty of people out here walking around who also made serious mistakes, right?
That's true.
But the way I see it is like this: if somebody else has a broken leg and I don't have a broken leg, that means that person is going to get healing that I'm not going to have, because I don't need it.
Right.
That's how I look at it. And the other thing as well is I've got a book which teaches you how to raise money for your education. You don't have to get into debt. And we can talk about that another time. It's called Shaking the Money Tree.
Well, we will certainly do that. We'll
give you instructions about how, because I interview people who've done it.
Well, we're going to definitely make that happen.
Their own education and other people's education. So we can talk about that another time.
Oh, absolutely.
There's ways and means. If you want to get an education, you can.
Absolutely. Well, we only got a couple of minutes left, and we got a comment here from Viata, our Friday host, which you got to watch Viata every Friday and Sunday on the Female Solution. She says, "Grand Rising, beautiful souls. Brother Kwesi is right about forgiveness. Help your mom know that holding on to unforgiveness will create dis-ease in the body." And that is so right, because cancer is the energy of unforgiveness. So you really are hurting yourself when you don't let it go. And we got a caller. Let's see if we can open the mic. We got a minute for 773-221. Yes, sir. Go right ahead. You got a minute to give us your thoughts.
I would say I'm Big Brother. I'm a Asiatic American National Socialist, America's Black Hitler. And when somebody tells you who they are, you should believe them.
Well, that is something that we always say. With that's what we always say. When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. And we've got to go. Thank you so very much for calling in. Thank you, Brother Neil, for your comments. We appreciate you so very much. And Zhana, thank you for being with us this first Wednesday of the month and giving us some success strategies. And thank you, Kareem Hamid, for always lending your words of wisdom. We appreciate you so very much. And to all those who called in, listened in, and added to this energy of, we say thank you. And thank you, Brother Kwesi. And before we go, tell us where people can go to get your book.
90 seconds.
Is it on Amazon or your website?
Thanks for having me.
Yes. And where can people go to get your book?
Thank you very much for being a guest on my show. I really appreciate it. And thank you to my co-host.
Yes. And thank you for the topic.
To you, Brother Kwesi, because I want to get those links about where
my Instagram handle is
available.
Okay. Your Instagram handle is, what is it? What is your Instagram handle?
My Instagram handle is KWEISI, the brand. KWEISI, the brand.
All right, Kwesi the brand. All right, go to
selling
Instagram.
My book at $100.
Well,
Zelle Kwesi Gharreau at gmail.com.
All right.
At gmail.com.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you. Let's
get the memo. Put your mailing address.
All right.
But thank you so kindly, Naima.
And thank you,
Zhana and Kareem. Thank you for having me and letting me share.
Thank you. And thank you to our.
You're welcome, Kwesi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And we thank all of you. And we thank our global family listening from all around the world who have.
Peace.
And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, zhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.